Welcome to the Fortress. My name is Bennett Newsome. I am the esports strategist here at Full Sail. Also stream on Twitch under the name Dammit Bennett. But we're really excited today to welcome some friends from Magic Gaming to the stage. We're going to be talking about all things esports, as well as the business side, and as well as coaching, and even getting into it with some of the players. So we're really excited. Today, joining us on stage, we're going to have the director of Magic Gaming, Ryan DeVos, head coach of Magic Gaming, Jonah Edwards, the NBA 2 Rookie of the Year, Magic Gaming's Reed Hill, also known as Reezy, and the NBA 2K Fan Engagement of the Year from Magic Gaming, Brandon Radabras, aka Toxic. So let's give them a warm Full Sail welcome as they all come on up. Welcome, guys. We're very excited to have you here. Thank you so much for coming out. I would love to start off and just kind of have you guys go down and introduce yourself, talk just briefly about what you do with the organization or the team, and just kind of start there.
Absolutely. So I'm Ryan DeVos. I'm the director of Magic Gaming. So I oversee all things gaming for the Orlando Magic, both the gaming side and the business side.
I'm Jonah Edwards. I'm the head coach of Magic Gaming. A lot of my work day to day consists of kind of scheduling these guys, getting them into practice, scouting, game planning, and then in off season, kind of recruiting and getting a new roster for the next season.
I'm Reed Hill, also known as Reezy. I'm the point guard for Magic Gaming. So day to day for me is just playing the game. Really, that's pretty much it.
My name's Brandon Roddenbush. Also go by Toxic. And I play lockdown defender for Magic Gaming, my second year now in the 2K League.
Very cool. So I know that obviously here at Full Sail, we tend to focus on a lot of entertainment degrees, obviously entertainment business, media communications. So I think a great place for us to start the conversation is in that business world. So for students here going to school, what does your day-to-day look like as far as the operations of Magic Gaming, and how did and how quick was it for the Orlando Magic to be saying, hey, we want to enter into this space?
Yeah, so we at the Magic pride ourselves on innovation and really being one of the more cutting-edge NBA teams in the league. So we saw this 2K League opportunity as a great chance to jump into the quickly growing world of esports, and really wanted to dive in. 2K and the 2K League presented a great opportunity. It's obviously basketball. It's a game we know and understand already. We know how to sell partnerships around it. We know how to activate. So it was a kind of a no-brainer for us. So as soon as the league announced it, that it would be a possibility, we raised our hand immediately. So we were one of the original 17 teams in the league, and a great way to jump into it. But overall, Magic Gaming is basically a microcosm of the Orlando Magic. Myself, Dan Brunenmeister, who's here somewhere, he runs our marketing team. We have Chris Bell, who does our content, Chris Toussaint, who's our team manager. So we have all these different roles filled to keep growing from a kind of a marketing and from a team operations standpoint. And then Gabriel Cause, who is our partnership manager, and he's actively selling partnerships around Magic Gaming. So the more we can do on our side to grow the fan base, easier it is for him to sell partnerships and for us to actually drive revenue.
Yeah, and it's really awesome to see those types of careers, right, in this space. A lot of people are actively looking at esports. I know I've talked to several students and graduates that are saying, hey, this is where my passion is. This is where it lies. Do you have any advice for any students that are looking to enter into that business side of esports?
Yeah, I think with so many different opportunities and in the landscape of esports changing so quickly, I think the biggest thing would be take any opportunity you have, even if it seems like it's a little bit out of your wheelhouse. Say yes and learn how to do it as you go. But sports and especially the esports industry, it's all about getting your foot in the door. So any opportunity you can to get your foot in, do it and dive in from there. That'd be I think my main bit of advice.
Awesome. Yeah, great. So, Jonah, man, I obviously had a pleasure to meet you, and I've had many conversations with Ryan, but I came out to the draft. I came to the War Room, which was really, really cool. I got to call in the pick for DT, and that was a really exciting glimpse into your world as a coach. But walk everyone through kind of what it is to be a coach in the NBA 2K League, and what kind of, your day-to-day really does look like.
Yeah, so really I have kind of two different day-to-days, which is when we're in season and when we're not. So when we're in season, it's a lot of making sure we're ready for practice, what we're going through each day, kind of letting these guys know we have a morning meeting, then we start scrimmaging, and then, we do film review and do things like that. We drop plays on the blackboard, everything. And then in off season, a lot of it is kind of, obviously maintaining our current roster, making sure they're all taken care of. But then on top of that, scouting, preparing for next year's draft. I'll watch hundreds upon thousands of hours of film to see, these new coming players, and kind of try to find maybe a hidden gem or someone that other people don't value as highly. For example, Reezy was someone we took 9th overall that I think a lot of people were a little surprised in, and obviously he's had a great rookie season. So something we were confident in. I was confident, super confident drafting him. You were in the room, so you heard me. I was super thrilled, with all our picks. So it's a lot of that, and these guys make it easy for me, so I have no complaints ever.
I think the commentators were even surprised that you picked them, and it was cool to see just all of that coming together, in the room. So definitely a full-time job in itself as the coach. Is there anything that when you always hear about talking and people talking about watching the film, watching films, you're always going back and doing that. Is there anything specific that players, maybe we have players here from our Armada team that are looking to improve their game from a coaching perspective, looking at film? Is there anything that sticks out that helps you understand maybe the mistakes that you're making or where you can improve?
Yeah, that's a little tough to answer. It really varies by position. Even when I'm watching, it's hard for me to watch 9 players that are all so skilled, 10 players that are so skilled, right? So I can't scout 10 players in one game. So I almost have to go back and watch a game twice to kind of, I can only probably key in on a few. Right. So, but I'm always looking at the small things. I think that's the biggest thing to me is we can teach the basketball philosophy. I can teach those fundamentals a little bit to you, but there's just inherent skill in the game that some people have and some people don't. And I think that's what I'm looking for more than anything. Yeah. And so, just working on the small mechanics of the game and understanding those at a deep level.
And you're an avid player of the game too, so obviously that helps, being a coach and loving and having a passion for the game as well. So that's great. As far as you guys, man, this is a huge journey for anybody to go pro, in the world of esports. I would love to kind of hear your first take of making it into the league and just kind of your thoughts, when this became reality.
The combine process is probably one of the most stressful things I've ever had to go through. You gotta play 100 games in 1 month, win 100 games in a month, at I think a 70% win rate to even qualify. So, I qualified through that. Then there's a combine that you play in. You join the game. It loads you in with random players, and it tracks all your stats. You basically are trying to, get your stats up and get the wins at the same time with these random players you never played with before. So you got to build relationships in the game with all these people from all over the country that you've never played with, and it's really a difficult process. And then once the combine's over, they pick the best 250 people in the world. In season 1, it was like 70,000 people tried out, I think, and then they picked the best 250, and then they narrow it down to 200. So. They send out emails in these waves, so you're just sitting there waiting all day, refreshing your email. It's super stressful. So once you get that email and then the phone call that lets you know you're in, it's a lot of relief off your shoulders.
I'm sure. And this is obviously the second season of the NBA 2K League, and you have been awarded Rookie of the Year, the very first Rookie of the Year ever. So that's a huge honor. What was it like to, getting the award? You were telling me earlier about the trophy and what was that feeling going through?
It was great to see all the hard work that I put in and all the hours I put in, and people recognized it. I started off the season kind of slow at the tip-off tournament. I played really poorly, and that motivated me to want to get even better. So what I did is I went back and watched film of all the players in my position that outperformed me and saw what they were doing that was different from what I was doing, and I tried to learn and take things from them and add that to my game, and it worked out for me. And I put in a couple extra hours each day, learn all these different dribble moves and everything, and it paid off.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. That's a huge win for you, and obviously for Magic Gaming. And Toxics, man, I'm a huge fan. I'm a Twitch streamer as well. You also, which is great. You're a Twitch partner, and you were actually awarded the NBA 2K Fan Engagement of the Year award, which is another great thing. I definitely spent a lot of time, preparing for this, watching the vlogs that you did on YouTube, which were great. I think that everything that you're doing from a content creation standpoint is fantastic. Walk our audience through that a little bit.
Yeah, so my story real quick to kind of piggyback off what Reed said. I was a content creator and a Twitch streamer before I even thought about being a professional 2K player. I had a sports background. I grew up playing basketball, so I always had interest in 2K, always played with my friends and my buddies, around the neighborhood. And then, eventually I heard about the NBA announcing the league, the 2K League, and of course all my viewers and all my, my supporters were like, man, you got to go for it. And so from there, they were the ones who really pushed me to getting into it. And from there, like Reed said, went through the whole process of the combine, 72,000 kids in the combine. You have players that, don't have microphones. You're playing with the guys that you don't know necessarily. So, your goals might be a little different than theirs. You might be taking it a little more serious than they are. So it's, it's kind of tough doing that. But throughout all the adversity, did well in that. Ended up making the cut for season 1, playing for the Cavaliers, and now here in season 2, playing for the Magic. And yeah, like I said, just start off on Twitch and with the Fan Engagement Award. First starting off, I was always a player that was unknown in the community, and always looked for the guys who had big names, and always would reach out to them, asking questions on what I could do to get better, and certain tips that they might be able to tell me. And I always really respected the guys that answered back and took the time to tell me little things that could make me better to help me get to that next stage. And so, I made a promise to myself, if I was able to get to that level, that I want to do the same thing. And so, I make it, a vital point for myself to reach out to people who reach out to me, whether it's about Twitch, whether it's about YouTube, whether it's about 2K and how they can, succeed in whatever aspect that they're trying to grow in. So I take pride in the award, and, just trying to give back and help people come up in their career.
That's awesome, yeah, and obviously you go way back with it when it comes to esports, playing Halo back in the MLG days, and I think a lot of people getting into the world of esports, can think fondly back on those days of playing any of the games that were focused on when we were growing up, which is great. Being on another team, getting traded, coming down here, what was that like as far as an athlete? I mean, that's got to be a new experience, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there's always two sides to a trade. So for me, I was extremely happy because at the time being in Memphis, I was drafted in Memphis in the beginning of this year. And wasn't super happy in Memphis at the time, so I requested a trade. So to be traded here was a blessing. I'm from Florida, originally from South Florida. Yep. Always had my eye on playing for Jonah. I knew the Magic had a great organization, and so to be traded here was a blessing, something that I really wanted. So I was happy about that for sure. Like I said, there's always two sides to a trade, so I think I just ended up on the good side of it.
And there's a lot of travel too. Not everybody may know this, that as a player, the majority of your games are taking place in New York. So you're here, and then you're traveling, and you're coming back, and you're going back. So walk me through and on any of the roles here of what that feels like to go and compete, to do your job, to coach. Is there extra stresses because you're constantly traveling?
Yeah, real quick, I'll go quick, but it's a lot. I mean, I think this year was a little better than season 1. Season 1, like this year we had bye weeks. Season 1, there was no bye weeks. So it was pretty much practice, 4 or 5 days a week, and then we're on a plane. Then get back, take 1 day off, 4 days of practice on a plane every single week for 4 months straight, pretty much season 1. So season 2, having the bye weeks was a blessing. But still, I mean, a lot of travel. Obviously, you're stressed out about your games. You want to do well. You want to win. And so it's a lot of stress, but, we enjoy it.
Yeah, I think the moment I think back on the most is we had a flight to Vegas for the Turn tournament. It was about, I think, what did we fly out, 5:30 in the morning, I think. We got to MCO, and we were in the security line for 2 full hours, and half the team did not make the flight. I mean, we weren't not late to the airport. We were on time. It was brutal. So we had half the guys on the flight taking off to Vegas, to half the guys behind. So there's just stuff like that just happens. And I mean, yeah, flying, obviously 14 weeks straight in season 1 was pretty brutal. A little bit better this year, but still it's not exactly a fun time to, you think, oh, you get to travel to New York for free. That's great. At first I was that way too. And then I realized that I feel now like I have to fly all the time. Like my bag doesn't get unpacked. It stays that way. So but it's fun. It has its moments.
And from a business perspective, obviously we're looking to grow a brand and a fan base here in Orlando, and it makes it a little bit more difficult when we're actually playing our games up in New York, when we are, the guys are on the road the vast majority of the time. So we try and find creative ways. Obviously, we hosted with Full Sail, a lot of help and support. An amazing event called The Ticket here, right in this space.
Yeah.
So we looking for opportunities like that to help engage the local fan base and kind of take those next steps in the growth of Magic Gaming.
Yeah, and to speak of The Ticket, I mean, it happened in this room. You guys were the first professional, league event that we've ever done in this facility. It was incredible. Walk me through kind of coming home, playing in Orlando, being able to be the hometown team. What was that like for you guys?
For me, it was definitely the highlight of the season. My dad flew out here to support me, and he was able to sit in the crowd and watch. The crowd was electric. It was incredible. Definitely the best crowd of the season so far was here. I think it was the most well-ran tournament throughout the season. It was my favorite tournament of the year. So I couldn't have been more happy to be able to play here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and for me, like I said, being from South Florida, my first time really being able to, have a tournament in the state of Florida and to represent, the hometown team in the Orlando Magic and have my family and friends come up and be able to watch. It was a great experience. And honestly, the venue was perfect. I mean, it was electric. It was loud. You could really feel it. And I haven't felt an energy like that since probably season 1 playoffs. And this was up here with it. So to hear, have my family cheering and everyone yelling, and it was like no other. It was definitely, like Reed said, one of the best tournaments of the year. And so Full Sail definitely did it right.
Awesome. Yeah, it was definitely energetic, and the crowd was absolutely into it. So we were very honored to obviously host that, and definitely looking to the future for a lot of those things. But obviously with the world of esports and everything moving in incredible speeds. Going from playing video games on the couch with your friends to being a pro athlete, like what is that? What do your friends think of this? What what do your family say? Is it hard to explain to them? Like, walk us through that.
So I mean, yeah, when I got to explain, it's like I told you upstairs, like my 92-year-old great grandparents, like they're like, what do you mean he's going to play in the NBA? Like he's playing for the Magic, he's in the NBA, and like no, he's playing a video game. Like so that part is hard to explain to them, but. I mean, my family has been super supportive. Like you said, I grew up playing Halo at a younger age, 14, 15, 16, playing professional Halo. So my parents kind of already had, a foot in the door when it came to the esports world. But again, like, aunts, uncles, they didn't really understand, but now they're huge fans. And even my friends, like, they watch every week. They're on Twitter trash talking the other team that we're playing against, so they're super engaged, and I was surprised by that, but it's awesome to see, and it's been great to experience it so far.
Yeah, for me, I actually had a lot of people, that I was friends with that I didn't know were like hardcore gamers almost, that told me, like, once they found out I'm a professional gamer now, they're like, dude, you played video games?
Yeah.
Because like in high school, like I was the sports guy. Like I played baseball and basketball and all that stuff. So I didn't really advertise that I played a lot of video games. So once they found out I was a gamer, they're like, dude, no way. Like I played video games all the time. Like we should play together sometime.
Your friends list went crazy, right?
Yeah. And then I had a guy that I used to play basketball with in middle school. He went to a rival school. I played travel ball with him though. he messaged me and was like, "Dude, you're in the 2K league. Like, I tried out this season. I made it to the top 250 in the pool." And he shows me his email that he got from the top 250. I'm like, "Dude, I didn't even know you played 2K like that." So yeah, it definitely has brought a lot of people together in my life. And I got my grandparents sitting at home. They're turning on Twitch streams now. Like, I've taught them.
So awesome.
I've taught my grandparents how to turn on the Twitch stream and tune into the games, and they're like, they don't have a clue what's going on, but they support me, and that means the world to me. So.
That's awesome. So you said something earlier about like rivalries, and obviously playing online, you're just playing, and there's someone there, with a username and an icon. You don't know who it is, but obviously playing in an arena against somebody else, there's definitely going to be rivalries that you guys run into. Have you felt any specific, teams that you've played and faced that you have a good rivalry with, or a bad one?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a couple throughout the season. All have different reasons, of course, but I think one that I can really pinpoint on is actually in the tournament here.
Right.
Second round of the ticket tournament, we played the Miami Heat. So obviously 2 Florida teams. I'm from South Florida. I got my family. Then they got their family. And then my roommate from season 1 on the Cavs was a player for the Heat this year, and I was a player for the Magic. So we had that relationship, and then my family's yelling at his family, and we're all going back and forth. Obviously, both in the state of Florida, wanting to win the state of Florida, and that to me was a big one. But there's been a bunch throughout the year.
I think the one that first pops into my mind is definitely the Grizzlies. So after the trade, we had 3 weeks of the regular season left before the ticket, and I think we went 2-1, and we looked pretty darn good those weeks. And so everybody was talking about the Magic won the trade, and fortunately for us, we were happy to be on that side of it. And then of course we come to the ticket, and our first round matchup is against the Grizzlies, and so they took it personal.
Yeah.
After everybody saying that we won the trade, so they were talking some trash, and we came out here and we sent them home. So that was definitely a great feeling. They ended up getting a little bit of revenge on us, knocking us out of the playoffs later in the season. So that's definitely probably our biggest rival at the moment.
Yeah, and for the 2K League, players are in a big circle, so there's a lot of cross-talk and a lot of trash talking on the stage, which is completely different than the vast majority of esports. So it makes it really fun, and from a business standpoint, from a sales perspective, partners get excited to see that passion, and that translates onto Twitch streams and into content pieces.
As for a spectator too, it's got to be a much more engaging environment to be in, seeing it happen, and things are going crazy. So that's great.
Yeah.
Toxic, you also have an org that you've kind of been spearheading and running called Eyeball, right? Can you talk to us a little bit about what that is and how people can get involved?
Yeah, so obviously being around the esports for a while, and as much you probably know, like if you've noticed, organizations such as FaZe or such as Optic, 100 Thieves, like you guys see what they're doing now, and it's unreal the amount of fan base and things that they're doing. And so for me, coming into 2K and realizing we really don't have anything like that.
Right.
And so for me, I kind of want to be on the forefront of that. And like I said before, being mainly a content creator before I was a 2K League player, I knew that a lot of these guys, Reed especially, like they have so much talent and so much, there's so many other fans that they could go out and reach, and they might not they don't know how to understand to do it because they haven't, jumped into a Twitch or jumped into a YouTube and understand that content world. And so for me, I made an organization where I was able to grab, some of the best 2K, players in the world, and from there form a group to help each other grow. Whether it's on Twitch, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube. We have a team, a design team of 15 different designers that do anything from Twitch work, Twitter work, YouTube work, video work, design, everything. So, and we actually, have 4 of those designers who have now gotten jobs within the 2K League itself. Awesome. So. Really, the main goal is just to build something together and try to, reach a higher goal, like you see, like people like FaZe and 100 Thieves doing, and just build content and, see where it goes. So that's it.
That's awesome, yeah. So we are definitely going to leave some time for questions from the audience as well as online. So we'll probably hit a couple questions. If you guys have something on your mind you want to ask, just raise your hand, let us know. The one thing that I think that we haven't really talked about is practices. and what that actually looks like. I tried to explain it, to a couple people once, and they didn't really understand. Wait, you're practicing a video game? Like, I don't get it. Like, walk us through kind of what an actual practice looks like, for these guys.
Yeah, so I'll start and I'll go off what we do early in the season. So I kind of put these guys through almost like a boot/training camp, kind of what you would do, almost like 2-a-days, and you get ready for your NFL season. So essentially, we'll go about 10 to 10, which is obviously just early in the season because that is really a lot of hours. But yeah, so we'll come in and we'll meet as a team. We'll talk about kind of like just key points, what we're working on today, kind of just like actual genuine basketball fundamental stuff. We'll draw up stuff on the board like actual plays, and we'll try to go execute them in the game. And so we'll schedule scrims against other teams around the league. We'll play in an online scrimmage build, for example, against the Celtics, and we'll play a best of 5 against them. And so the bad days are when we get swept in that best of 5. We get swept 0-3. We get an early lunch, and then we come back and we go get beat again, and then we got to go for a third best of 3 against another team. But a lot of it is really just getting down kind of like where everyone wants to work on the court, kind of what moves they want to do, where they want you to go when you're there. We do a lot of quick hitters as opposed to like deep like running. Like in basketball, a lot of plays they take time to develop. It's a little bit harder in NBA 2K to kind of emulate that. So we do a lot of quick hitters, out of bounds plays, stuff like that, and we work on those a decent amount. I'm kind of lucky in having these two who are both like actual basketball minds too, so they help me out too. I think that a couple of these guys have pretty high basketball acumen, so we work on that stuff a fair amount too. But most of what we do is we just get hours on the game. I'm big on it's muscle memory. That's truly what it is. You should do enough during the week of practice, and when you get to the stage, you shouldn't have to think that much.
Right.
It should be muscle memory. But we try not to overwork, but also make sure we're prepared. So.
Yeah, and you guys also do like a lot of the physical aspects too, right? You obviously have partners in the health spaces, and keeping that part of your body tuned is really important as well.
Yeah, we work with a trainer twice a week. I think we're even talking about opening it to 3 times next week or next year. Sorry. But yeah, twice a week with the trainer. We'll go in there. Sometimes we'll just play 5-on-5 basketball. Other times we'll do tire flips and sled runs and not as fun stuff. So
I saw the tire flips on like Instagram. It didn't look fun.
No. But no, I always am huge on healthy body, healthy mind.
Yeah.
We try to encourage these guys to eat as healthy as we can. An occasional Papa John's pizza though too. But for the most part, try to be healthy and make that a lifestyle for the guys.
Awesome. Do we have any questions so far? All right, we see our first one right here.
My name is Cole Johnson. I'm actually in the sportscasting program over here. And I'm a big 2K player. But Coach, this question is kind of specifically for you. With the nature of the game, it's very easy to find ways to exploit it. So how do you counteract those kind of faults in the code?
Yeah, it's always going to be tricky with 2K. There's always going to be nuances in every single game. But I think that, and this is probably odd to some people, but like we totally, if there's a glitch exploit, like we want to use it too. Like we want to win. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we care about. So we're going to use it the same way other teams use it, where every team kind of faces the same thing. And I think what you're talking about was this year we had the dribble glitch, which was a big thing in the game this year, where basically you can't get plucked from the lockdown in front of you. But yeah, I mean, it's something we started practicing the second we found out about it, and Reed got pretty good at it himself. So there's always ways to counteract that stuff. We always trying to find stuff out. We have a few ways that we can beat certain stuff, but for the most part, we encourage it and obviously try to work it into a system. Like we'll actually talk about like how can we make this work for everybody? Is there ways for everyone to do it? And I mean, yeah, definitely.
Any other questions from the audience?
Our online group here, Jeffrey is actually in audio production. He is in his 50s. However, he is interested or maybe interested in e-gaming. But even for our younger players out there, what is the easiest way or what is the way to get into e-gaming?
So I'm sure he means like what's the easiest way to like become a professional player, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's different for everyone. my biggest advice, I feel like making content helped me. Being a streamer, I think, helped me because it opened up a lot of different eyes to me. My personality, obviously, I put a face to my name, my gamer tag. I wasn't just known as toxic. So people get to know you more. They get to see you play. So, you can put on a Twitch stream just through your Xbox or through your PS4. So it's pretty simple to do that. And other than that, just get involved with whatever community that you're in. Most communities have, pretty, tournaments that they have, or like small tournaments. So getting involved in those and just being able to kind of interact with your own community and build relationships is probably the most effective way, I would say.
Definitely. And I think that community engagement, like, going and finding someone, whether it's on Twitch or Mixer or YouTube, wherever you're at, finding someone that you enjoy watching or that you want to follow. There's a specific, pro athlete that you want to follow and you watch what they're doing. Getting involved in those communities can really bring you together and open up a lot of opportunities to say, hey, I'm decent, I could do this too. And then you start, working your way through that world as well. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say too, from a business standpoint, as the overall esports space continues to grow, more and more opportunities will open outside of just traditional esports organizations. The kind of the cottage industry of the esports world is going to continue to pop up in things like audio engineering. As more of live events are taking place, that's going to be in demand. So just finding those opportunities as the space continues to grow and jumping on those as quickly as possible.
Awesome. And I think we have a question right here.
I have 2 questions, or I have a lot of questions, but I'm only going to ask 2.
Perfect.
I'm Catherine Stewart. I teach in the sports marketing and media program. First question, how do you decide what position you play, and do you rotate positions at all? What does that look like? And then second question, I have to ask about the women who play in the league. And then also, I saw today that they announced that they were adding the WNBA teams
to 2K20, yeah.
Into 2K20,
Right.
So that would be cool to have like a WNBA 2K league. Is that something you think they're going to do?
So to start on your first question with positions, I grew up playing basketball, so naturally the first position I picked was what I played in real life because I felt like I had the most knowledge on that position. And from there, I kind of just stayed with that, and I kind of perfected that. I think every player is different in a sense, but for me, that was that. But I'll let Reed kind of talk to you about his position.
Yeah, so I was actually a shooting guard before coming into the league, but Jonah drafted me to play point guard, so that was a transition that I had to make, and I knew that I was going to have to, play well for us to be successful, and I didn't really, choose to play point guard, but it just kind of happened, and I went through it and did it, and as far as the WNBA, I think that is something that would be incredible. The more women we can get involved in gaming, I think is great for everyone, for the league to grow. Yeah. So, I think that would be awesome. A WNBA 2K league down the line. I don't really know how that would work. I kind of like how there's women involved with us. I think it's a healthy environment for us to be working together. So, I like how women are in the league with us.
Yeah, to kind of talk about that too. This year was we had the first woman that was drafted in the 2K league, Chiquita, who plays for the Warriors. So that was a big milestone for us. I believe we had one other girl in the draft pool. So that was a first. And then like you were saying about adding the WNBA players to 2K20. We don't know yet because we don't have the game, but I'm sure you'll see more people that make my players. Like, for example, we make players based around ourselves. So I have a guy who has an orange beard and the whole thing. That's like my look. So I'm sure you'll be able to have, women players. And so for like someone like Chiquita, I'm sure for next season in season 3, she'll be able to have a player based around her, a woman like we didn't have this year. So they're definitely taking strides in that. So we're all for it for sure.
Yeah, and from a 2K league perspective, obviously having women in the draft pool and on teams is of the utmost importance. We want to have the best players in the pool, and so it's exciting for Chiquita to get drafted and be a part of things. But as that continues to grow, it's a great opportunity, and that's kind of the beauty of esports, right? You can have men and women playing against each other, and it's perfect. That's equal skill level there, so it's exciting.
Very good. Any more questions from the audience here? Right in the middle.
Wait, what? I'm first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, my bad. So, My name is Steven. I'm in the sports marketing. So a question that I would like to ask for the players, or maybe and the head coach as well, is what tips can you guys give us after like a loss, or like, you know what I mean? 'Cause that's a big, because you guys don't like losing, but there's always that mindset of a way to fix it. You guys know what I mean? So
Yeah, I can kind of talk about one what I remember perfectly was the ticket. I mean, super heated environment, a lot of money on the line, and we had just lost a super close game in the semifinals by I think 1 or 2 points to the Warriors. We lost. Yeah, super close game though, and you know we got back in the room, and it's a lot of emotions. And I mean, for me, I guess you consider me one of the older guys. I'm 27, so for me, it's always been really important to understand like it's never on one person. You know, we play as a team. We're going to win as a team, and we're going to lose as a team. I'm never going to be a part of a team that points fingers and blames someone. At the end of the day, you know, we'll take time to rewatch film, and Jonah does a good job of that and sitting us down and making sure we see what we did wrong and where we can fix. And the biggest thing is just sticking together after those losses and making sure, you know, you still have that trust and that faith in your team no matter what happened. You know, we're going to stick together and we're going to build off it and we're going to learn from our mistakes and we're going to get better from it.
Yeah, one of the biggest things for me this year was, you gotta learn your teammates' personalities, and you can say certain things to someone and maybe not to somebody else. So you know, the way you word things is really important. You know, how you talk to people is important. You know, you gotta talk to them in a way that's not degrading to them. You gotta build everybody up. So yeah, that's one of the things I learned this year. It's important to know your teammates' personalities and know how to talk to each player in a different way. So that's really important for me.
Yeah, and then I think the most important thing too, you know, especially because you're probably talking about like in an online game, right? You're playing by yourself, like, you know, and you lose and you get so caught up. A lot of times I'll yell at the screen. I'll blame the game. You know, I think, and I challenge these guys with this all the time, like look in the mirror, be introspective. What can I really do to bring more to the table? You know, if I have a bad game, is there a way I can build my teammates up when I'm having a bad game so that they can elevate their game and maybe play better, and they can pick me up too. So, and when they're having bad games, hopefully I can do the same thing and I can pick them up and play a little better. So I challenge them a lot with just being introspective, and obviously, you know, there's going to be issues with every game. It has codes, but you know, you can I expect the game to screw up. What I don't expect is my teammates to not have their head in the game. I don't expect one guy, you know, to be caught up in it. I expect him to, you know, get through that and you know, challenge himself to be better.
Yeah, and I definitely hear a lot about like team dynamics too, right? Where, you know, you may not always be friends with your teammates, but being able to work together, communicate is such an important, you know, piece of the puzzle. I think we have one right here as well.
Hi, my name's Daniel Hernandez, and my question is for the coaches and the business side. So there's a lot of qualities that go into being a coach, and I was wondering, what skills do you think people look for in a great esports coach? And my second question is, as far as the business side, what do people look for as far as the skills in entering that business side of esports?
Yeah, Daniel, I think that's a great question. You know, I think a lot of what I do on top of, you know, actually like I'm lucky enough to have played the game, you know, at a high level competitively for years before I decided to do this. So that's important, but it's not nearly as important as you know, being the leader in the room, trying to be the team dad at times to kind of like, you know, get them through stages of you know, confusion or frustration. A lot of times, like, you know, I for example, I had someone on my team last year who had never grocery shopped in his life. Like I had to show him at a grocery shop. So, you know, it's doing those things is definitely important. So I definitely consider myself team dad on top of everything else. But also, I think, you know, just being able to kind of manage the team environment is the most important thing. Setting these guys up for as much success as possible, taking the burden off of them as much as you can to make sure that their focus and their sole focus is on the team, getting better at the game, and working with these guys to become better.
Yeah, and from a business perspective, you know, we're a small team on kind of the business and content side of things. So I look for guys and women who are really passionate about the esports space, about what Magic Gaming can be, who can kind of buy into that bigger vision, and who can wear multiple hats, who can, you know, go out there and do, you know, they can help shoot content, they can help with Jonah with anything he needs on the game side. It can help me and Gabe on the partnership, partnership sales and activation side. So people who, it's a little startup. So people who can wear multiple hats, who can jump around, and who are just hungry. They love the space. They wanna get at it.
Very cool. Looks like we got one right here. I like your shirt.
That's our guy.
I mean, I've been around with the team since season 1. It's more two different questions. Knowing with season 3 coming around the corner, what kind of business mindset would you guys be looking towards for even during the off season with podcasting and that? How far would you guys be looking towards that? And then as well as for just with the game in general, with everyone talking about 2K20, what kind of mindset do you think on both the console side as well as the PC side, knowing how much of a difference it was for the PC side, how a lot of the community was talking about the PC players not being able to get into the draft as well?
Yeah, so from a business perspective, this off season, unfortunately, there's not really an off season for us. We're jumping right into planning and preparation for year 3. We've got to kind of lay out our overall goals, both from a gameplay standpoint, but also from a business standpoint. Make sure we're hitting our numbers from a revenue standpoint and expenses, tracking all of that. But ultimately, we see 2K and the 2K League as the first step in what we're trying to build here with Magic Gaming and with the broader Orlando Magic Esports, portfolio. So we're looking at and actively exploring what other steps can we make in the broader space. We love 2K. It's a great way for the organization to enter into the esports world, but there's a lot more out there, and that's what's really exciting about it. 2K is great. League of Legends, Overwatch, Rocket League, opportunities like that are larger, and from a business standpoint, create a better opportunity for us. So we're actively looking at opportunities like that, and that's a big chunk of my off season.
Yeah, I think as a player standpoint, for our off season, what's neat about what we do is every year there's a new game. So, we take pride in making sure that we're gonna, understand the ins and outs of that game and the mechanics and be as good as we can be, because we can't bank on our skill from this season that's gonna carry over to next season. So, as soon as that game drops, I'm sure me and Reed will be putting in 24-hour days playing the game and learning to make sure we can be the best player we can be coming season 3. And then to talk about the PC side of things, I'm not super familiar with the PC side of 2K, but I think if anyone's good enough at the game, whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, they should all have a fair opportunity to get in the league. So we'll see how that goes.
And I think we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. We got one from online, and we'll go. You already asked one, so we'll go over here.
Okay.
Online first.
All right, thanks, Bennett. We have Caitlin, who is actually a show production student here at Full Sail, would like to know how many hours did you guys stream before you got noticed? Did you get noticed, or did you just automatically try out for the team?
So for me, when I first started streaming, I streamed probably, anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day. And that was because I was on the game anyways playing. So I said, hey, if I'm on it, I might as well be streaming. And whether if it was one person or 5 people who came in my stream, I made sure to make sure they were noticed. I made sure to make sure they felt important. And I had that engagement with them. So for me to start, I was putting in, 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day, just trying to build up my community one by one.
I've actually never streamed before, so.
But you're going to.
I'm going to start
Yes,
streaming
he is.
this off season, but I actually regret not streaming because for the past 2 years I've been playing competitively against the best players in the world, and people enjoy watching that. And there's other competitive players that stream and have pulled thousands of viewers and are able to make money from it and get partnered. So that's definitely something that I regret and wish I would have jumped into sooner, is streaming. And I just didn't realize that there was really money to be made there and fans to be gained from that platform. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward into doing.
Yeah, and I think with streaming comes a lot of just actually being there, putting in the time, building those communities, networking with other people. And all those things combined is what can help make a successful streamer. It doesn't happen overnight. It took me 4 years to get partnered, and that was a long haul. So it's definitely something that if you're passionate about that space and you're looking to do it, or you're playing video games anyways and you want to do it. That was how I started as well, and it's a great place to be, but it takes time, absolutely time. And the last question here.
So my name is Josh. I'm in the marketing degree. My question is really for the business side and the player side. For a player, say you already like not necessarily 2K, but all for the other esports games like FPS shooting games, stuff like that. If you're in that position where you do stream, how do you market yourself to get to the higher point in your like career-wise, like to be professional or to get into a gaming community and things like that?
I mean, it can be tough at times. I think the most important thing, especially for me, is like, it's important to understand. Like for me, I would just talk about 2K, but I've also played professional shooting games. I played Halo professionally at a young age, and I try to separate both, but it's hard because you want to be genuine when you're streaming, and I try to make sure I keep that genuineness to my viewers. But at times, like, how you could be playing a game. I mean, emotions come out online when I'm streaming, but I gotta remember at the same time I'm representing the Orlando Magic in the NBA, so I try to be myself and also have that filter. But I mean, my biggest advice is just when you're doing it, be yourself and enjoy it, and show those people your emotions and the true you, and that's what I did, and it built me, built my community and got me to where I was. So
Yeah, from a business perspective, we know live streaming and live entertainment carries some inherent risk, and so we accept that as we have Reed and Toxic streaming and our other 4 players. But at the same time, from a partner standpoint, we partner with Full Sail, Orlando Health, a number of partners around Orlando and around the country who expect it to be clean and expect it to be family friendly, if you will. So you want to make sure that players are letting their personalities shine through. That's great, but making sure that it stays clean is really our big focus from a team organization perspective.
And I think too, focusing on the talent. If you are highly skilled at the game, really focusing on continuing to build that aspect while streaming and building your community. Those are great ways to elevate those things. And eventually, if you continue to play at a high level, those other things are going to start coming around just because of the skill that you're putting forward.
Yeah, I think that you don't have to be an incredibly great streamer to be a pro gamer. I think that ultimately it was great, having Toxic on the team. He has that avenue down. He has that part down. But Reed was Rookie of the Year. He doesn't stream at all. When I'm looking at players, I'm not going to say is he a streamer? That checks a box for me. But obviously, if you go full circle with it, that just shows me your overall buy-in and how committed you are to it. So I'll just know your work ethic, basically.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, if you're streaming and you're highly skilled, people will notice, even if you're not streaming. Like I said, I didn't stream for the past 2 years while playing competitively, and people still noticed me because I was pretty skilled. So, people will notice if you're a great player. So just keep working at it and keep improving your game.
That's about as arrogant as Reed gets.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming out today. We really appreciate you being here, and anyone online watching and tuning in, thank you as well. I want to give you guys a couple minutes to give any final statements, maybe a shout out to your socials or any of that sort of stuff, so these guys can find out where you're at.
Yeah, if you guys on Twitter, Magic Gaming on Twitter. Also, if you guys want to follow me, Toxic_bangs on Twitter. I always answer people back if you guys have any questions, so feel free to drop me a follow. If you have any questions about playing professional games or streaming, whatever, feel free to always reach out.
Yeah, same for me. Feel free to reach out on Twitter. My Twitter is @Reizey, REIZEYRH. If you ever have anything, questions about anything really, feel free to reach out. I'll be there. I'm pretty active on Twitter, so.
Yeah, I guess it was only a couple years ago. I was a college student. I remember being in my library in my university in Indiana. When this league was announced and thinking, how in the world do I get in this? I still can't believe it's real half the time. So I would just encourage you to, if this is your goal, this is what you want to do, go for it. Obviously, take care of the other parts of things. I think a lot of times that gets lost. And I want to be a pro. I want to be in the LCS, so I'm going to play 16 hours a day. I don't really think that's how it works. But just work at being a complete, well-rounded person and also focusing on your passions.
Yeah, no, just want to thank you guys for coming out and spending a little bit of time with us, and obviously thank you to Full Sail for the wonderful partnership.
Absolutely. You can always follow Full Sail, obviously on Twitter as well. Full Sail Armada, our esports team is at Full Sail Armada, and mine is at Dammit Bennett. Thank you again for coming out, and we will see you later.